Uh, Hello, colleagues. Nice to meet you on this event, where we will talk regarding the themes of SAP migration on Azure Cloud with different ways how to migrate and how to which solutions we can use. Before we start, let me tell you a couple of words about format of the webinar. First of all, it's a speakers only webinar. That means that all participants will be muted and can ask the question in the chat. So the topic, all topics today will be presented by 8 speakers from 5 companies: SAP, Microsoft, Infopulse, IntelliDocX, and Docs42. During the webinar, we will have also 2 10-minute breaks. And I think that it should be mentioned that since we are working remotely, all of us, it's possible that we could experience some issues with the connections, but I think it might not happen. So you're welcome also to ask your questions and give your comments in the chat box. And in the end of each presentation, we have time to answer on them. I think that it is all for organization moments, and let me start the webinar. So our first speaker is the representative of SAP, Hartmut Poppinga. I give you an access for the presentation, and let's start.
Okay, perfect. Well, a very good day to everyone on the call from myself. I hope that you can see my screen now. If that's the case.
Yes, we see it.
Okay, perfect. Let me go on full screen mode. So, as stated, thank you, Yuri. My name is Hardy Poppinga. I am in charge of the business with our strategic partners and our solution extension partners in this region. So I'm working very closely together with them. And I'm very glad that I have the opportunity today to speak to you about how we as partners like SAP, Microsoft, and partners like Infopulse are helping you customers to accelerate your transformation or transformation into intelligent enterprise. And I will speak a little bit about that, what I mean when we say intelligent enterprise. But it's really about how to transform to become more digital and to make use of the data. So again, thank you for joining us today. I have 20 minutes. In these 20 minutes, I will talk exactly about that, the intelligent enterprise and the role that SAP S/4HANA plays within that. Then I'll give you an overview of an initiative that we have put together with Microsoft that is called Embrace, and how that initiative helps you specifically on your journey in this transformation, with some details on the initiative, the value that it brings, and then at the end, you know, how you could start your journey with SAP if that's of interest to you. Okay, so let's look at this whole notion of intelligent enterprise. You might have heard that a lot already, and really what it comes down to is that at SAP we're speaking about the age of intelligence, and as you might know, intelligence comes from data, of course, and everything is driven by data these days, data that comes from external, but also data that gets created within your company. And we want to look at how you as a customer can make most out of that data in your enterprise to be able to make informed decisions, for example, and then therefore transform your company. And what you see here is a setup of solutions that we together with Microsoft provide to you in order to do exactly that. And in the middle, you see this SAP S/4HANA Digital Core, which is based on Microsoft's Intelligent Cloud, Azure. And this SAP S/4HANA Digital Core allows you to have access, for example, to different intelligent technologies, for example, big data tools and analytics, but also artificial intelligence, machine learning, Internet of Things, and also a user experience that allows every user to really access that data or the analytics of the data to make sense out of it for the respective area that she works in. So that is really the core of it. And if you look at the left side, here you see solutions that we as SAP provide you also to become intelligent. And these are applications, business applications for HR, for example, with SuccessFactors on the top. You also have applications for sales and marketing, like the SAP Customer Experience applications, also for supply chain management, purchasing, like the Ariba Network, and intelligent spend management. Those are all business applications which are connected to SAP S/4HANA, the digital core, and then the data that gets created that comes from externally that will be analyzed, will be made available throughout your entire enterprise and company, so that in each line of business, for example, the decision makers have access to that data that is important to them to be able to make those informed decisions. That's highly complex, of course, and that's why we are collaborating with a partner like Microsoft or Infopulse to help you customers to go through this transition to become an intelligent enterprise. Okay, so when we look at the market momentum with respect to this topic, what we see is that a lot of enterprises are moving towards the cloud, and they're moving to SAP S/4HANA. And when we speak with providers like Gartner, for example, they say that 80% of enterprises will no longer use the traditional data centers by 2025 anymore, but they will go and work with hyperscalers like Microsoft. So 68% of those enterprises will use cloud services delivered by hyperscalers, for example. On the right-hand side, that's more related with respect to SAP customers. We see that 73%, sorry, are going to deploy S/4HANA. 54% say that they will make this transition in the next 3 years, and 72% even say that they're going to deploy S/4HANA to the cloud. So there is a clear indication that there is a market momentum out there that customers want to go through that transition and want to also move towards SAP S/4HANA. All right, so trying to move my slides here, but it's not working. Now it's working. Good. All right, so what we have done is as we are in constant contact with our customers, we have spoken with them and we asked them, okay, where are you with respect to the transition to become intelligent, to become a digital company? And what they've told us was that they have quite some issues with that. Also when they work with us, when they work with our partners. And the issue is really caused by complexity and different points of views. So they say that whenever we ask our system integrator, it could be any system integrator, or we ask you SAP, or we ask one of the hyperscalers like Microsoft how to do that, we get different answers on what the transition path should be. And with these different points of views and answers, they are left with a lot of confusion, because they don't know, what is the right way now. I mean, if we ask those experts and all these experts are telling us different ways to go, what's the right thing to do. And what they really need is clarity and simplicity, and that's what we wanted to provide with exactly this Embrace program, this initiative that we have forged in order to align amongst us partners to deliver the best answer to our customers, and a clean and straightforward answer. And hence we introduced this Embrace initiative. As said, it's a strategic alliance between us, SAP, Microsoft, and our partners, the system integrators, the service partners. And it focuses on simplification so that the customer clearly sees how to do this transformation to make it faster. So not only to the transition itself, but also to be more agile as a customer and more efficient on the market by using digital technologies. And at the same time, we wanted to put a large focus on innovation. We wanted to make sure that our customers have the ability with this new technology to constantly innovate, not to be on that stage where they are then, but to continue to innovate around business models, business processes, and to be able to provide the best services and solutions to their customers and their own employees. So looking at this Embrace initiative, this slide shows to you the 4 pillars that Embrace is built on. On the top left corner, you see the market-approved journeys. And market-approved journeys are actually blueprints for different industries, or industry-specific blueprints, if you want to, on how to move your business within your industry to become intelligent. What do you need to do to get there? And those market-approved industry-specific journeys we have created together with those system integrators like Accenture, EY, and others, as well as with Microsoft, so that you have really a first guide at your hand here on what is needed in your specific industry. The next, sorry, just a second. The next pillar is the reference architecture. So here you profit from an architecture that has been developed jointly between Microsoft and SAP, so that has a high level of integration already, and again is then in that respect the technical blueprint. On the bottom right corner, we are talking about the third pillar, which is the optimized platform, and that actually is the SAP Cloud platform, which allows customers, but also other partners, to integrate and extend their existing SAP landscape, even with third-party applications. So if you have any non-SAP applications that you want to integrate, that's what you can do with SAP Cloud Platform. And in that respect, it enables a high level of innovation here as well. And it's all running on Microsoft Azure Cloud. And the fourth pillar on the bottom left is about how we engage with you and what kind of services we can bring to you. So this whole notion of bringing in a service partner that is a trusted advisor, some of you might have already these trusted advisors that you work with on different other topics, but if you say, this is my partner I want to work with, of course, then you can do that. And here is how we engage with you in a very structured way to assess your and analyze your existing state of the today, and to develop together a desired state where you want to be when you go through this transformation, and then also give you a migration path, etc., that is needed, and services that are coming with it, so that you can have a successful transformation here. So those are the four pillars of this whole Embrace initiative. So moving to the next slide. It is a bit slow. Here we go. Good. Sorry for the slow move of the slides here, but I hope it's getting better over time. Good. So here, talking about the structured engagement with you as a customer. The Embrace initiative, as I said, really starts with an alignment phase where Microsoft asked one of our services partners that you decide who it should be. We're coming together, we're sitting together with you, we're analyzing your current state that you're in, and then together we discover where you need to go with different checkpoints along the way. Then we create and design the solutions that are needed in order for you to get there. We're working with these market approved journey maps that I just introduced to you to do that. And then at the end, what you get when you through this whole process with us, you get a strategy with a clear focus on business drivers from us. You get a technical architecture and infrastructure recommendation from us. We give you at hand a migration path with managed services that are coming along with it, and you will have a full business case and the value that you will get out of it. So this is what you can expect when you work together with us as the partners on your transformation. So waiting for the next slides here to come. Okay, so this is a build slide. I hope that it builds faster than the others are moving. Yeah, it does. Good, good. So I wanted to give you also an insight into this, what I call these industry-specific market-approved journeys. And these are really built based on experience, industry-specific experience. And hence we work together as Microsoft, SAP, and system integrators like Accenture, EY, Pricewaterhouse, and so on to create those. And the focus really is here on customer experience, employee experience, the product experience that comes in, and also the brand experience. So very, as you know, and you know, there's nothing new there. Every industry has its specifics, and we wanted to make sure that customers get a guide, a map at their hands that give them a first idea on what is needed in their customer, in their industry. And when we talk about, you know, this process, we actually talk about three stages, three phases. The first one is the lift phase that you see here on the slide, where we enable you with SAP S/4HANA, and therefore you will be able to execute actually your data first strategy, you know, because the tool allows you to do exactly that, to have a clean digital core, to standardize your business processes that you have, and to remove complexity from your environment. So that's what we do in the lift phase, first phase. The second phase is the reshape phase, and here we're really looking at transforming existing processes to our enhanced SAP processes. Also to move you as a customer to a more agile and enhanced solution set that comes with it. So that's the reshape phase, really looking at those business processes and some of them to automate them as well. And if you have gone through the first two phases with us, then you can go into the creation phase with us. And this is really the phase where, with all of the new setup that you have then based on SAP S/4HANA on Azure, you will then be able to create completely new business models for your customers. And also for your employees, for example, when you think about your HR department, or for your suppliers, when you think about the Ariba networks, etc. So the supply chain, right? So that will be the third phase, where then you will be really make use of the full power of the Intelligent Enterprise that we give you at hand. And all of that in an industry-specific mode. So on this slide, I will not speak too much because my colleague, who will be the next speaker, Andre from Microsoft, will use that slide to go more into the depth of this whole value that this initiative between SAP, Microsoft, and our partners like InfoTrust brings to you. But what I can say already is this is a strategic alliance based on those four pillars here. Those are the value pillars for you at the end. So with us, you will become more business agile, and as I said, you will have the chance to innovate more than you've done before. Just an idea, you know, you could leverage 1,000 pre-built integrations already, and machine learning, artificial intelligence capabilities that we'll bring to you, for example. On the optimized cloud, here it's really about how you can save cost by moving your business, making it more digital, moving it to the cloud, for example, reduce staff cost, but also data center cost. In that direction, you have to think around this. Risks, security, and compliance. Here, as the words are saying, one point, when you go with us, you will go with an unrivaled multi-layer cloud security that you will get nowhere else to secure your data. And a partnership that you can trust. Microsoft and SAP have a 30 years long alliance already where we successfully work together with our customers. So we really know with who we speak, and when we integrate products, we know exactly what is needed there in order to drive the value to our customers. But more on that, as I said, Andre will speak to you about as the next speaker. Okay, so that brings me already to my last slide. And again, it's moving a bit slow. Here we go. So when you start your journey with us today, then you can expect the following. As I said, we as partners, Microsoft, SAP, and our service partners like Infopulse will sit together with you. We will look at your status quo, and we will analyze that together with you and then come up with a plan. And that plan will give you a clear SAP strategy. It will talk about the pain points that you have and the key drivers that you need to put in place. We also will provide you with a functional solution map and a technical architecture, as you have seen in the pillars of Embrace. We will define a migration path with respect to also the managed services and implementation plan that you need to have at hand so that you exactly know when it needs to happen what and who does what. And at the end, we confirm your whole business case on how this transformation with us will move along. So those were the slides and the content that I wanted to share with you. If you want to ask questions, I think that you can do that via the chat, correct?
Yes, correct. Hartmut, many thanks for your presentation. So as I see, there is no questions for now, and we can proceed with our colleagues from Microsoft, Andre Selbach. So give you an access, please.
Great, go ahead. Thank you for the intro, Hardy. That was a really interesting presentation, which I'll build upon. So give me one moment to just share my screen. Okay.
By the way, colleagues, the presentation will be recorded and we can send you the links with the record. So, yes, Andre, you can proceed.
So I'm just going to verify, can they see my slides? Is that okay? Yeah?
Yes, it's okay, I see it very well.
Excellent. So as was already sort of mentioned, my name is Andre Sedlicek and I'm a cloud solutions architect at Microsoft. Previously, I was in Australia working on a lot of digital transformation projects where Azure was a key component. So it's been actually a real joy to see Azure drive innovation in organizations. And today I'm going to talk a little bit more about how in particular Azure is a good platform for SAP landscapes and how you can drive your innovation with SAP and Azure together. So let's dive right in. I hope my slides will change a little bit faster than Hardy's. Oh, it looks like it's doing the same sort of an issue, so please bear with me. I might just start quickly talking about what's on the next slide since I can see it. So hopefully it will change in 10 seconds or so. So So let's first talk about some of the challenges that organizations are facing today when they talk about ERP and where they're sort of heading with ERP systems in their landscapes. Let me just try one more time. No, now it's changed, I think. Okay. So one of the first issues that the customers and our enterprises and organizations are seeing is that they lack traditional speed or speed with traditional ERP systems. So what this means is that when they're thinking about making some sort of innovative changes with their ERP system, they're thinking in 3 to 5 year cycles. They're thinking about purchasing hardware up front, waiting for that hardware to arrive, then making sure they've sized the hardware correctly, and this takes time, costs money, and it reduces the sort of the motivation to basically drive innovation. So that's one of the first key problems. Second problems that we're seeing, or a challenge that we're seeing, is that the data is stuck in silos within organizations. The ERP holds a lot of, it's a wealth of data, but it's often not connected to other CRM systems or e-commerce systems or just other systems that may be important to your organization. And thus you're not getting insights that you could be getting from that data, which are very valuable. Number 3, certified data centers are very expensive. To certify basically virtual machines that can run SAP workloads and very large SAP workloads is very expensive. And quite often, again, if you're thinking about that 3 to 5 year cycle, you're over provisioning those machines for the future. And this is not ideal because you're paying for hardware and compute that you're not really utilizing. It's not an efficient, cost-effective way to operate a data center. Fourth point, technical debt. Hardy spoke about this a lot. ERP and SAP systems are quite embedded, older systems within organizations, and it's difficult to make changes to these and innovate. It feels risky to make those changes, and businesses are trying to figure out a way to get around that. And I'll talk about how these problems can be solved. Final one is security and compliance, which is becoming more and more of an issue and is an important factor to consider. And I'll talk about how cloud basically helps solve these. So why cloud? How does cloud help solve these problems? So the first one we solve with automation through infrastructure as code, through being able to have an elastic data center. So you're able to basically script an entire SAP landscape into several Terraform scripts and other forms of scripts, and you can deploy them completely automatically in minutes on hardware that you didn't have to purchase up front, and then afterwards, maybe if it was just a sandbox or an experiment or a POC, you can destroy it afterwards very simply again. And this is what that agility means, this automation that allows you to drive that innovation. It gives you that speed to market. Second point, talking about the data, which again, Hardy mentioned a lot of this as well. This is where a lot of organizations are finding a lot of value and wealth in their data. And both SAP and Microsoft offer services on their platforms to help you do that quickly and rapidly. So Microsoft has a lot of analytical tools such as Azure Synapse, which allow you to pull that data from SAP and from other systems and quickly and basically very cost effectively start analyzing it to get insights. Number 3, again, I mentioned the cost of the data centers is very expensive. So in the cloud, again, thanks to automation and being able to scale dynamically and to the OpEx model, you're always paying for only what you're using. So especially, this is something that was especially important this year, where a lot of organizations had to downsize because COVID reduced their production. And if they had paid up front through a CapEx model, they would now be overpaying for something they're not using. So again, having an OpEx model really provides a dynamic efficiency for your cost of your data center. Fourth point, SAP HANA and Azure services. So we talked about the technical debt and how it's difficult to make changes to a SAP and an ERP system. By using SCP, which is a SAP Cloud Platform, and Azure services together, you can build those enhancements and those innovations outside of the core, right? So by doing this, you're able to minimize risk and drive innovation. One of the most important parts for digital transformation. Finally, security, as was already mentioned, it's world-class at Microsoft, and we guarantee that we assure compliance and business continuity as well. So let's go dive a little bit deeper. When we talk about SAP and Microsoft Azure, we talk about 4 key pillars, which again, Hardy mentioned really briefly in his presentation as well. And we're going to dive a little bit deeper into each one. So the first one is it's a proven cloud platform built for SAP. We will talk about security and compliance, again about the innovation and digital transformation, and finally touch a bit more on the deep partnership that Microsoft and SAP has. So let's dive in. So when we talk about the proven cloud platform, we first should have a look at how massive Azure actually really is. So if I put this slide up 5 years ago, you would see about 5 to 10 dots on this page, right? This is just how massively cloud adoption has grown over the last 5 years. Now there's 61 dots. You can see we have regions pretty much everywhere on the globe. And this slide was, I think, updated 3 months ago, and it's already out of date. We've already announced the Polish data center, which is visible there. But we've also announced a Greece and an Austrian data center as well. So you can see the cloud adoption is rapidly growing. And as was mentioned in Hardy's slides, pretty much anyone who's thinking about SAP and S/4HANA is thinking cloud first. It's basically this massive growth is happening at the moment, and Microsoft and Azure is basically the largest organization or the largest network infrastructure in the world currently, the largest private infrastructure. So how does that actually relate to SAP though? So it means we have a lot of different varying scalable options for your virtual machine. So we can start all the way down with the D series, which have 8 to 256 gigabytes for smaller SAP landscapes, all the way up to 12 terabyte virtual machines for very large SAP HANA landscapes, as well as Azure large instances, which are actually bare metal machines in the Azure data centers, with which we actually offer, and the only ones that do on the market, Intel Optane for persistent memory. So this is much faster boot up times, and we're the only public cloud that offers this option. So again, we're providing unique performance, unique infrastructure for SAP workloads, everything from the smallest landscapes to the largest landscapes. Second most important point, or probably the most important point for some organizations, is high availability. So for organizations that really cannot afford any downtime, where even an hour or two downtime can mean hundreds of thousands of euros lost in revenue, we have the setup and the infrastructure and the architecture to be able to provide up to 4 nines of SLA. So basically ensuring that the SAP landscape never goes down. So for single VM landscapes, or for simpler landscapes, we also offer industry only 3 nines of SLA. And then we can grow through availability sets to 3 nines and a half. And all the way up to availability zones, which basically separate your landscape into 2 different buildings within a region. So 2 different data centers within a region. So if one whole data center within that region, for example, in Dublin, goes down, we switch over to another data center within Dublin. So there's actually 10 data centers within Dublin that we can kind of switch between. And this way we can assure up to 4 nines of SLA, guaranteeing, again, industry-leading high availability. So the next piece is, it's not changing my slide. Here we go. So Azure management, also managing that landscape. Azure offers a lot of tools to do it very effectively and optimize it. So again, we offer monitoring, Azure Monitor for SAP, which is a dashboard that allows you to see how the Azure infrastructure and the SAP infrastructure is operating, again, giving you quick analytics insights into how it's performing, reducing operational costs. I already mentioned the automation. This is a key aspect to the cloud and to reducing costs of SAP landscapes and other infrastructure landscapes, or other infrastructure which is using Terraform and Ansible scripts to create and destroy basically environments without any human interaction. You basically just run these scripts and your environments are created, and then you can again just very easily destroy them afterwards. Key aspect. High availability disaster recovery is basically out of the box in Azure. It takes a few clicks to set up, for example, Azure Backup for SAP. It discovers your HANA database, and you're able to very easily make these backups and run this basically completely automatically. Finally, there's also governance. Again, I'll probably move on because there's a fair few slides to get to. So all of this together, when you kind of encapsulate it, it basically drives to optimizing your costs with Azure, right? So I talked earlier about the CapEx versus OpEx. So you no longer have to invest, several €100,000 upfront to provision hardware or tie into a massive upfront contract with a private data center. You can pay as you go for both the infrastructure as well as the SAP license. So this is something that we provide uniquely. Again, goes to the partnership that was already described by Hardy. That's very close between SAP and Microsoft. Is that you can run the entire SAP landscape as an OpEx monthly model rather than having to pay up front. Key aspect to optimizing costs. I also spoke about the dynamic cloud, right? So you're able to snooze, for example, your dev and test environments, which means turn them off when you're not using them. And by doing that, you're able to minimize costs. If you want to create a sandbox for 2 months or something just to test something out, you can, and then destroy it afterwards, right? Again, huge cost savings and dynamic sort of elasticity with your data center. Finally, I'll probably mention really quickly the backup and archiving. The storage costs in Azure are very competitive. It's very hard to sort of reach those sort of costs anywhere else. So if you're thinking about backup and archiving, which for SAP, there's pretty huge amounts of backup and archiving that takes up a fair bit of data. Again, it's an opportunity for some cost saving by utilizing Azure storage to do that. So that was the first pillar. I think, again, a very key one. Let's dive into the second one, which is security and compliance. So Microsoft invests $1 billion per year into security. We've always been an enterprise sort of first and enterprise focused, organization and partner for all of our customers. And we take security and compliance very seriously. So we have 3,500 full-time professionals which are monitoring 6.5 trillion signals daily. So we really take this phone very seriously. And there's basically no other private data center that can provide this level of security, right? It's extremely expensive for us to do this, and it's very hard to compete against this by other organizations. Secondly, we also offer a lot of security services within the Azure platform. So you probably already know Active Directory. So there's Azure Active Directory for your identity management and identity protection, with which you can activate multi-factor and so forth. We've got encryption on every single storage database that we operate in Azure. We obviously provide all the firewalls, VNets, DDoS protection and so forth in terms of network security. Finally, we have Azure Security Center, which is continuously suggesting how you should optimize your security. So if you have a weakness in your Security Center pops that up and tells you how to basically improve that security aspect so that you're minimizing your threat. Finally, we've got Azure Sentinel, again, which allows you to monitor signals yourself and see if you can come up or predict potential threats before they even happen. Again, very important security portfolio that our customers really utilize, and they know that they can trust Microsoft for that. Finally, there's compliance as well. As you can see, we actually have more compliance certifications than any other cloud provider. So everything from ISO certifications to actually local and regional certifications, we make sure that we are compliant. And that means that when you run your SAP landscape in Azure, you're being compliant as well. So that was the security and compliance. Let's dive into my favorite one, which is immediate insights and innovation, which is a lot more about digital transformation. And it's something that also Hardy touched upon a lot, and it's, I think, the key aspect when you're thinking about future, right? So what we usually see is when our customers and organizations move their SAP workloads to Azure, and they start utilizing the high availability, the improved performance, security, and compliance, they're trying to figure out how to get more value out of that, that installation or that landscape in Azure. And they start leveraging other Azure services. So other Azure platform services such as the Azure Data Lake, Azure Data Factory, Power BI, Logic Apps, which are really services that the platform offers very low cost, sometimes completely free to experiment, and they start trying to innovate. They start taking those insights and plugging them back into SAP Cloud Platform to drive innovation, to make a change in a process, to optimize the business, and to basically drive innovation, improve customer experience, and so forth. So this is where that digital transformation happens with the platform that surrounds it, both the Azure platform and the SAP Cloud Platform. So just as an example, when you think about SAP on Azure, you would normally just think about the infrastructure services, which is the compute, the storage, and the networking. That's the infrastructure piece. But Azure is actually a lot more than that. Azure offers a full platform of services, and there's a lot more than you can see on this slide, but you can see everything from integration, which I just mentioned, which allows you to connect SAP to other Microsoft and even non-Microsoft systems very easily with drag and drop, low code or no code services. You've got Docker and containerization. You've got developer services. So we've got GitHub, we've got Visual Studio, we've got application platform where you can develop other apps on top of which are completely serverless. Again, very easy to build, quick to market, and so forth, right? And I can't leave out obviously cognitive services, AI, and analytics, which we're actually doing really well. And again, SAP and Microsoft really complement each other in these spaces. So just as a quick example, I think the most common scenario that we see is basically the one that was mentioned again by Hardy as well, and it mentioned in one of the challenges that we're trying to solve with cloud, which is combining the enterprise data and other sources of data in one place and trying to analyze it. So again, SAP and Microsoft offer the tools to do that, and to do that quickly, cheaply, and rapidly. So just as a really quick success story, Daimler, which is a large auto manufacturer, they migrated their S/4HANA to Azure actually many years ago. Since then, they've done exactly what was described in the previous slides. They've pulled that data in one place, analyzed it, and now they use Azure as a platform to develop applications and drive innovation that's even non-SAP related, right? They're using it to deploy Docker containers and using it to run Tomcat, Red Hat Enterprise Linux, and so forth. So they're using it as an actual platform for innovation, and that's what this is all about. So finally, the partnership between SAP and Microsoft, I think this is possibly one of the most important pieces. Again, as was mentioned, we have a 30-year-old alliance between SAP and Microsoft. The Embrace initiative was mentioned quite deeply by Hardy, and I think it's a really important, unique aspect that SAP and Microsoft have together. We work on unique architectures together, so we have the right reference architecture for your S/4HANA landscape. We also work on common roadmaps. We have engineers that are sitting, Microsoft engineers sitting in SAP, developers, and SAP engineers sitting with Microsoft engineers, and working together on a unified journey, right? So this is really important. I think no one else can really offer this. Finally, SAP or Microsoft is one of SAP's largest customer. We have over, one of the largest SAP landscapes, and we of course run it on Azure as well. So that just shows that we do have the power and the performance to be able to do that. And it means that we practice what we preach. We are using the tools that we're trying to, show to and share with our customers. Also, SAP runs a lot of their internal landscapes on Azure as well. So you can see by doing this, we can actually really leverage off each other and learn together and grow those products, both Azure and SAP together. So to sort of wrap it up, I'm going to go through this really quickly because unfortunately my time is running out, but these are the 4 kind of key drivers that we're seeing our customers decide to go for SAP in Azure. First one is infrastructure events. So their contract runs out with their existing data center, or their hardware is end of life, and they're looking for a place to go, and they realize Azure is the cheapest and the most innovative option for them. So this is again one of the key drivers that our customers are using. Second is operational enhancement. So a lot of our customers are looking to improve their efficiency. I talked about this a lot, so you get security and compliance out of the box with Azure, and you get the dynamic kind of scaling of Azure as well that allows you to kind of drive that cost efficiency. S/4HANA, this is the most important, or I really want to stress on this one. Again, the Embrace initiative and the fact that we offer the reference architectures mean that the risk is a lot lower to do an S/4HANA migration in Azure than it is anywhere else, because we've got the experience, we've got the reference architectures, and we're doing it together with SAP. Finally, the digital transformation initiatives. I touched a lot on the SAP Cloud platform and the Azure platform, and how the services there drive the innovation, right? Allow you to plug into the Internet of Things, AI and ML, and drive an improved customer experience and improved operations. So here's a quick one-pager of all the different customers that have already moved their SAP workloads to Azure. You can see some big names up there, such as Coca-Cola, Samsung, like a lot of different names, BP, Shell. Locally, which I think is interesting, is Darnitsa, which is actually a project done by Infopulse, which is talking later today, and I think they may mention this case as well. You can see there's a lot of customers that put their trust into Microsoft to run their SAP workloads. One more success story with Coates. So Coates is a thread manufacturer. That's one of the first customers that actually moved their SAP landscape to Azure all the way back in 2013. And they followed a similar trajectory and similar path to Daimler, right? So they've moved first their SAP workloads there, and then again, they started analyzing the data and getting insights. Today, they're leveraging Azure IoT to monitor the humidity and temperature of their spindles to spin up the thread, that's spinning up the thread, and spinning it up at the highest possible speed without breakage. And they're only able to do this by leveraging SAP and Microsoft technologies. So again, a nice example of digital transformation and innovation. So this is my last slide. I really want to leave you with this, that it's actually really easy to get started. We offer assessments through partners like Infopulse, but during those assessments, both SAP and Microsoft are always included. As Hardy mentioned, this is kind of like a three-partisan sort of approach where Microsoft, SAP, and whoever you choose as your SI partner. So in this case, potentially Infopulse, who is our advanced specialized partner in the region, and we provide free of charge or very low cost assessments to really get an understanding of what that architecture could look like, how your S4HANA or even just normal legacy SAP landscape could look like in Azure, what the cost would be, and what the business value is of doing that, right? So this assessment is funded by, or largely funded by Microsoft. So I would suggest really just to at least leverage this, just so you have an understanding of what it could look like. Second, for when you actually think about the migration itself, we have proof of concepts for S4HANA migration where we provide for 3 months the infrastructure and SAP provides the license for 3 months. So you can really try this out. Again, you can see the SAP and Microsoft reference architectures during this POC, and you can get a lot more trust and reduce your risk in understanding what the S4HANA migration could look like. So again, something really important that is unique to Microsoft that I suggest you leverage. Finally, if your landscape ends up in Azure, you can continue to optimize it by leveraging SAP services as well as Azure services to grow and innovate that landscape. And you can do that continuously using those services. Continue to optimize it to reduce costs, improve efficiency, and drive innovation. So I hope this has left you at least a little bit inspired that this is something that can be done. It's something that's booming. For me, that is all for today. I wish you all also great holidays during that are coming up, and a happy new year next year. And I hope we get to work with some of you in the future. So thank you very much for your time and attention. And I hand it over back to Infopulse.
Anyway, many thanks for your presentation. So we are planning to have a break since I said before about 10 minutes, but I think since we finished a little bit later, I think it's enough to have 5 minutes a break. And after that, we will continue with the Infopulse team. So if you don't mind, let's start 5-minute break. So, colleagues, I think we can continue. The next part of our event is a presentation of Infopulse team, where we will deeply review our possibilities to how to migrate on Azure, tell you about some cases that we've got for now, and let me introduce our team. So Yuri Tamil is me. I'm like a moderator, and I'll brief you, tell you about our company. Vadim Popov is our cloud architecture, and Alexey Masharov is our delivery manager. So before we will discuss our expertise and possibilities SAP on Azure, let's tell you briefly about Infopulse. Infopulse is a company coming from Eastern Europe and is one of the largest IT providers here, with a headquarters in Ukraine and a head office in Kyiv. Within almost 30 years of our experience, we had come more than 2,000 of professionals in different areas of development and services. And it is an interesting fact that Infopulse is a top 3 of IT employees in Ukraine. With regard to our business, we are running business relationship with customers in more than 30 countries worldwide. Most of customers are located, by the way, in European Union and USA. And of course, we are trying to build a long-term partnership with each of our clients. And for now, more than 75% of the clients we will in partnership more than 5 years. We are proud that we are a part of Theater Every, a really huge IT company based on North Europe, and provided services for first of all, such countries like Norway, Finland, and Denmark. In this huge companies, as you can see, there are a lot more than 24 professionals, and this team provides services for more than 90 countries worldwide. So if you're talking main pillars of services which Infopulse can provide within the 30 years. So it can be divided on 5 pillars. It's first of all, it's a software engineering and testing. It's implementation of different enterprise applications, SAP solution, business applications, Microsoft solutions for business analytics, application management, and others. And of course, since we're talking regarding cloud solutions, we have different services here as well. It's a cloud migration and operation, cloudification of applications, transformation of infrastructure, DevOps, and others. Since within maybe 3 or 5 years, cybersecurity becomes more and more popular, we decided to indicate this stream into additional pillar. So here we can propose you and provide such services like penetration testing, security assessment, implementation of security operation center, and cloud security, for example. And the last pillar is our classical, maybe outsourcing of business processes. As I said before, we are a partner to both Microsoft and SAP. And for both technological domains, these technological domains, we have dedicated competent centers, numbering more than 200 people in each. And we are proud to have Cloud Competence Center, which is the hub of cloud expertise, excellent of Infopulse, with main focus in solutions and managed services, more than 130 people on board. So we have been running these operations for more than 5 years. It includes on top 24/7 operations, call to you to support and proposes flexible engagement model to the customers. It focuses on cloud managed services and solutions consultant services, and also CSP licensing. So according to our experience, we have collected very important for us as we think 5 advanced specializations, which maybe for you could be could assure you that here on this direction we have enough different capacity, expertise, and people who can provide these solutions and can solve different and can provide different services according to these streams. With regard to SAP Center of Competence, as you can see, the coverage is really huge, taking into account all maybe aspects of SAP. And as I said, for the solution, it is a great advantage for us to have experts for both Microsoft Azure in the cloud area and SAP in particular. So according to our expertise and specialization, and if you are talking about the question, what solutions do we have? Our team can help you decide, is the migration to Azure relevant and cost effective for you or not? As you can see here, we can offer you, first of all, architecture design, estimation of costs, assessment of SAP migration and implementation, and of course, like post services like SAP consulting and SAP basis support. So if you can deeply move on what kind of services you can get, they can be divided in 5 ways. It's like a briefing and assessment, expert consulting, POC migration, full-scale migration, and of course, managed cloud services. We will be happy if you are interested in this, of course, and can discuss in more details what exactly we can here propose you, how we can work together, just to explain in details that migration of SAP on Azure is not huge on costs and really cost effective, and our teams further will discuss it in more details. So I give the floor to the next speaker, Vadim.
No, Yuri, it's maybe my turn now for a couple of slides.
Yes, this is Alexei topic.
Alexei.
Okay,
So,
if you give me my presentation skills. Oh, yeah, thanks. I can share my screen. Okay, now can you see it?
yes.
Yes, we see.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. Thanks, guys. So hello to everyone. Thank you, Yuri, for introduction. Briefly, I think it's very interesting for our audience now. So I'm very excited to be here today I want to thank for the SAP and Microsoft partners for the opportunity to share with you our experience and I think success cases in SAP and Azure journey. Let me introduce myself and we begin. So my name is Alexey Masharov. I'm delivery manager in Infopulse company and I'm responsible for delivery process, not only for SAP projects, of course, but today we met to discuss exactly SAP and Microsoft. So let's start. And first of all, we will talk about why Azure are so perfect choice for SAP workloads and why many companies migrate the SAP environment to the clouds and definitely to the Azure cloud. Let's go and discuss this topic more deeply and precisely. And first of all, we need to talk about customer drivers that lead customer to this decision. And of course, where we can go without it, without customer challenges. So what about customer drivers? You already heard and seen that slide before. Thanks for Microsoft. Of course, but I think we need to repeat them to better understanding of what customer may use to drive properly. First of all, it can be operational enhancements. Some of customers want to be more compliant and have better security. Some of them want to be want to get better analytics, and of course, many, even all of them, want to be more cost efficient. Second drivers block tell us that somewhere there are customers which want to migrate their database to more efficient and better performance database service like HANA and build their SAP S/4HANA and BW on HANA basis. If you look at the third block of the customer drivers on this slide, we will see, of course, trended way of the last years at digital transformation initiatives. And all of the trended services like IoT, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and of course, last but not least, infrastructure block and its drivers like data center migration, hardware end of life, software end of support, or I would prefer to say hardware died, software cried. And all of this stuff will now not come alone. All customers on their way to the cloud meet one or more challenges. Let's look briefly to the most of them happen to many of the customers. Most of us have met them and most of us have one or more troubles with them on our way to the cloud. It really often we could hear like SAP infrastructure is expensive and requires 3 or 5 years of commitment, sizing often difficult. People to run SAP on premises without automation solution is the biggest cost factor. Dev test and QA are busy during implementation. SAP customer cannot afford having a second data center for disaster recovery, and etc. But of course, we are not alone on our journey. To give the right answer to all of these challenges, exactly 2 vendors have met and cooperated to give more opportunities to their customers in the way of SAP to the cloud journey. Of course, I tell you about SAP and Microsoft. Their relationship, or if I want to be more precise, partnership, has been going already for more than 25 or 30 years. And all of the mutual customers from SAP and Microsoft sides can get their benefit from this relationship. Microsoft runs large-scale SAP on Azure basis, and SAP runs 70 internal business landscapes on Azure. Of course, these relations not only in trust, but in innovations too, from collocated engineering resources to SAP software as a service solutions like data custodians or success factors, etc. And at last but not least, there are bundles of some seamless offerings like SAP HANA Enterprise Cloud with Azure or robust reference architecture, etc. So let's look deeply to the SAP infrastructure needs and how they cover by the Microsoft Azure advantages. SAP mission critical infrastructure needs not so unique if we will talk about any of the solutions and business requirements. Such things like scalability, availability, performance, and management are quite usual in our IT and digital world. And of course, Microsoft and Azure could and have to give the advantages to solve and cover these needs. In Azure, SAP found scalable infrastructure for all of the workloads, comprehensive partnership with Microsoft and ecosystem, and valuable insights and innovation services. So let's deeply look into different scenarios where my colleague Vadim Popov would be glad to open some advantages of Azure and SAP partnership. Vadim, the floor is yours. Good luck.
Thank you. Yuri, please send me manage.
Please take it.
Thank you. Do you see my screen?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you. Let me start. My name is Vadim Popov, and I work for Enterprise Cloud Architect at Infopulse company. I have seen different infrastructure for different systems, from hardware, virtual environment, private, public, and hybrid data centers for maybe 20 years. And my last 5 years, I work for build architect for big and very big infrastructure, hybrid infrastructure with on-premise and Microsoft Azure technologies. And this my presentation, I want to share some technical practice for working with SAP in Azure. And I start. First, just one moment. Okay. First, very important step. If we starting work with customer, main important step, understand and decision requirement for SAP infrastructure. Of course, we can use existing environment sizing, and after that implement existing environment sizing and choose correct and certified Azure virtual machine and Azure disks. And if this new environment, this step look like as first we understand SAPs for application level and DBMS layer with our SAP team. Next, we estimate or measure IOPS requirement for database management systems and understand SAP's requirement for DBMS and service virtual machine. And after we understand technical requirement for SAP environment, we looking for certified and correct Azure virtual machine and Azure disks, because this is very important since we can expect sizing, we can expect cost, and main task looking for balance with performance and cost. We do this as first step. After we understand potential Azure SAP requirement, we working with customer and create and provide HLD architecture, high-level design architect. During this step, we communicate with customer and understand all necessary requirements, such as DR, data availability, security requirement, and another. And this slide, we present typical architecture. For example, classical case, SAP for HANA VM on Linux. This is one of recommended Microsoft and SAP recommended architecture. And this architect present some activity. For example, if we want work with SAP system located on Azure, we can build express route. This is good connection, a good and security connection with on-premise data centers where users are located, and Azure infrastructure. And very interesting, this channel internal and Azure infrastructure is part of corporate network, customers corporate network. Also, we can use Azure virtual machine, and we must use only SAP certified Azure virtual machines. I will spoke about this next slides. And for example, we can use for SAP application servers Azure availability sets or Azure availability zones technology for improve availability. Also, we can use SAP HANA virtual machine with high performance primary storage or ultra storage disks. And if we want to improve availability, we can use additional SAP Azure virtual machine for creating HANA system replication. And also, of course, if we want to improve availability, we can use neighbors Azure region and implement SAP HANA system replication to additional host, additional Azure virtual machine on neighbor region. And for application servers, we can use Microsoft Azure Site Recovery technologies who replicate application service virtual machine and creating synchronous state. And if we don't have availability on primary Azure region, we can quicker start system on additional region, and we can work. Next, also very important technical things, network connectivity. First scenarios I have spoken about this. If we want working only from corporate internal network, this is scenario painted on the left. We can build express route. This is high connectivity technology with on-premise and Microsoft Azure. Also, we can use site-to-site VPN technology. This is also additional possibility way. And on this case, our customers working only from internal network and SAP system on Azure not accessible by external network and this internet. Maybe from our customers, this is the most popular case. Also, a lot of our customers used two connection. First, main connection express route. Second, reserved connection, Azure site-to-site VPN. This is technology for build VPN, IPsec VPN tunnel via internet. On the right, this is also possible connection scenario. On this scenario, we can connect through internet and public endpoint on a jump VM, and or for example, VM which is running SAP HANA. On this case, strongly recommended use different Azure Hub VNet and protect internal communication from internet via network virtual appliance. Azure provides different network appliance, maybe more than 10 brands, and we can use network NBA security device, virtual device regarding this our security requirement. Next, my colleagues spoke about a lot of SAP systems in Azure, and I want to say very important things. Maybe today on Azure we can migrate SAP system to SAP for HANA system, or migrate system as is, because Azure provide this technology. Very important things. We need strongly attentive for choose virtual machine and drives, because we must work only certified environment. Microsoft provides a lot of virtual machines types for SAP infrastructure, and very useful link I present on this slide. This is a link for SAP on Azure certified configuration. Today, Azure technically provides different SAP workloads and size. For example, we can use for SAP NetWeaver D-series VM. This is also certified machine for SAP solution. For NetWeaver and SAP HANA, we can use E-series VM. For NetWeaver and HANA, we can use AMS. This M series, this is special series virtual machine for SAP HANA with strong RAM and virtual CPU. Also, we have MV2 series VM. For example, the most RAM of these 20 terabytes. This is very strong and very performance virtual machine. And also for very large SAP HANA environment, Microsoft can provide technology as named dedicated host. Dedicated host, this is maybe as a physical server from Microsoft Azure data center, provided especially by SAP large environment. Also, Microsoft provides 5 storage types this useful for SAP HANA. Very important, certified for production environment, only premium SSD drives, ultra disks, and Azure Net App files. Because premium SSD drives, this is performance, has large performance, and more strong SLA, and strongly recommended and certified for SAP environment. If we use small disks, small performance disk, SS type HDD or type standard SSD, this most useful only for SAP NetWeaver dev test environment. For production and production dev and test environment for SAP HANA, we must use premium SSD or ultra disk. This is the most performance disk, or Azure Net App files. This is network storage. Also, very interesting information for SAP environment. We can use Microsoft and SAP requirement. On this slide, I presented part of this table. For example, if we choose M32 TS machine, we receive RAM 192, and we must use different storage place for drives. For example, HANA data, we can use 3 premium 20 drives, and these 320 drive working as a storage space pool, as rate null, and this is very good performance for database operations. Also, we can choose 2P20 drive as RAID 0 storage pool for HANA logs. Also, for Linux environment, Azure provide possibility and to enable write accelerator. This is setting strongly recommended for HANA logs disk drive. And we can use this configuration, and if we use this recommendation, we receive certified architecture. Sorry. Next, very interesting. This year we can use for SAP environment network storage Azure Net App files. The Azure Net App files provide simple manage disk infrastructure, high performance storage, enterprise data management, and useful for hybrid environment. Very interesting topic. Azure Net App files useful for build cluster environment for HANA database or application servers. For example, in this one of recommended architecture from Azure, if we want creating high availability SAP HANA scale up, we can use Azure Net App file storage, and in this case we have storage. This is cloud storage, and we have disk space for one HANA node, and we have second HANA node with different drive space. And very interesting, if we enable HANA system replication, we have 2 hosts of HANA DB cluster. This is one of case. Also, of course, very important things we are working with Azure for SAP environment availability. From technical side, from my technical side, first, very important, we must use disks only premium SSD, ultra disk, or Azure NetApp files. Because if we use disks from premium SSD, Microsoft provide for this virtual machine SLA 999.9 only with premium and ultra storage. And very important, if I use one virtual machine for SAP, Microsoft protect this VM, for example, from fail with hardware where this machine currently working. For example, if hardware when this machine working at current time failed, this machine automatically live migrate to one of hardware, working hardware. And from a lot of cases, we didn't see this patch. No, because if our SAP availability requirement higher, we must choose additional availability technology. And next technology, this technology has name availability sets, and very interesting. If we worried about server racks on Azure Data Center, we can create cluster for database or for application servers and locating virtual machine on the availability set. Availability set protect against failures within data center. Okay, if our system has stronger availability requirement, we can use technology availability zones. On the Azure region, Microsoft present data centers from one region as Azure availability zones. And of course, I can use cluster technology and locating virtual machine from this cluster from different availability zones. This case, if data center failed, we worked from neighbors data centers. And also we have possibility to create cross-region DR because if we want to protect our infrastructure from all region failure. And some examples, for example, high-level architect for subnet Viva. Of course, we can use availability set availability zones for SAP application servers. Also use this technology for example, in this case, Microsoft SQL Server. We have two virtual machines and enable always on a SQL Server always on replication technology. This virtual machine located different availability zones or one availability set, and we have good availability solution on one region. If we want, we can use always on replication for a neighbor region, different Azure region, and Azure Site Recovery for replicate virtual machine from application server to neighbor regions. For SAP for HANA, also typical high-level architecture for this high availability. This case, we can use two express route for different regions. We can use availability sets or availability zones on application tier subnet, and two SAP HANA database virtual machines. And we can replicate this HANA system replication, creating database replica on region 2, for example, DR region, and replicate another virtual SAP virtual machine by Azure Site Recovery technologies. This is very interesting technology. This technology provide synchronization and set change on virtual machine continuously, and all virtual machine on the region stay shutdown state. And if we need change region, we can quicker start this virtual machine. We didn't pay, we don't need to pay cost for virtual machines. We pay only Azure Site Recovery service. And also, I have spoken about large instance DR. If we want to use large instance dedicated host, this is different physical server located on Azure Data Center, and this technology also can provide dedicated storage replication and availability technology. This is one of recommended architect for high availability with large instance. Also, very important, backup, because we understand in our SAP systems, users was worked, and backup can provide additional protect from administrator errors, for user errors, and another bad situation. Very important, Microsoft Azure provide Azure Backup Service. This is cloud service who certified from managed database, SAP HANA database backup. We can implement HANA database backup from Azure Backup Service because we have streaming backup with Azure HANA Backup interface, and Azure Backup Service initiating disk snapshot, initiating replication, initiation backup and manage procedure, and can save backup data to Azure storage service. Azure storage service can replicate locally with 3 points, or can replicate globally to neighbors region, and in this case we must have backup copies on 2 Azure regions. Of course, if we don't want use Azure Backup Service, Microsoft provide 3 other backup methods. For example, one of these, we can connect Azure NetApp files as a network file share, NFS share, and can backup HANA database from HANA scripts to this storage. Also, we can connect disks, additional disk for backups. Maybe this disk as standard SSD, or not only premium SSD, and HANA backup can backup it to attached disk, and from this disk we can backup files to Azure Blob Storage. This is less expensive storage, and for example, creating Azure Disk Snapshot by Scanner. This we can use as a backup method. And also from technical side, very good solution, Azure Monitor. This solution, customers can collect telemetry data from Azure infrastructure and database in one central location, and we can correlate telemetry data for faster troubleshooting. Azure Monitor, colleagues from Microsoft spoke about this. This is very interesting service, and we can use custom query language, KQL, for quicker looking for any expectation, understand performance, and create, for example, alerting subsystem to automatically react for performance and another cases issues. Yes, this is Azure solution, and we can possibility implement this for SAP systems and SAP databases. Okay, and also I can spoke about some migration activities. First, from maybe I say from my experience, if we use SAP or clouds with Azure, we can expect these cases. First, for dev, test, and demo and training environment, we have cost saving because we can manage this environment from Azure Automation and maybe automatically start and shut down for only necessary working times. Also, we can use reserved instance technologies from Azure to save costs for SAP infrastructure. Next, good disaster recovery. When I spoke about technical aspects of SAP on Azure, we can build a lot of DR technologies for customer requirement and provision not week and months, and disaster recovery infrastructure can quicker start and working because Microsoft Azure provide all necessary technologies for this. Also, achieving data. Because we have different way for backup data, also very interesting, if this old backup data, we can use Microsoft Azure Cloud or Archive storage, and this less expensive, so we can save a cost for storage for archiving data. Also, we can less cost for virtual machine because we can use reserved instance options. Production. Today, Microsoft SAP environment working more than 50 regions and with good SLA, and we can build SAP infrastructure on the necessary customers region. Also very important, if SAP Cloud move it in Azure, we can implement Microsoft security technology, we can implement monitor technology, DR technology, and also we will receive additional advanced analytic opportunity. This is Azure Machine Learning, for example, Power BI, and another interesting data analyzing and data working technologies implement Microsoft as a platform as a services. And we can manage cost on Azure because Azure provide different possibilities for save cost. For example, if we use Windows Server virtual machine and have Windows Server licenses with software assurance, we can use Azure Hybrid Benefits technologies. Maybe this saved cost about 40% for if we use Azure Hybrid Benefit. If we use 1 or 3 year reserved instance, we reserved this virtual machine plan for 1 year or 3 years, we can save up 80% compared to pay as you go. And also we can manage dev test sandbox environment, for example, use reserved instance, or maybe use automation for start shutdown for necessary times, or maybe use different test and dev subscription. And also we can quicker and manage Azure backup storage, for example, use archive storage for cost saving for old data. And why Azure for SAP workloads? Very interesting. The most because today Azure platform is our most powerful and scalable cloud for SAP HANA, because we have very powerful virtual machine, we have certified virtual machine, we have performanceable drives, and we have all necessary infrastructure. Very interesting because Microsoft Azure platform is the most secure platform. Maybe a lot of compliance regulation and restriction. Microsoft certified for more than 90 compliance offering. Also, Microsoft provide additional service for SAP, look like this IoT, data, machine learning, Power BI, and another cases. And very in our experience, a lot of customers started from pilot, and before starting process to migrate production infrastructure, we can also use pilot phase to test approach and design made during the planning and preparation phase. Very important things during pilot, customers can understand data transfer, how data transfer to Azure work, and maybe found in solution for optimize if need. Also, we must provide technical validation, testing virtual machine types, storage, networking, test high availability and disaster recovery procedures, doing security test and performance testing. And a lot of our project starting at beginning from pilot phase, and after that, after successful pilot, customers migrated their infrastructure to Azure. Thank you for attention. Thank you for participating in this meeting. And if we can questions, we can send to chat.
Thank you, Vadim. Since I do not see any questions, let's give the floor to Alexey.
Yes. Thank you, colleagues.
So, Alexey.
Yeah, I have already my ability to present the screen. Some seconds, please give me. Can you see it?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So thank you, Vadim, for your comprehensive look at SAP and Azure scenarios and services. It was really interesting, and now I want to share with you briefly some cases. Exactly, the Infopulse have different interesting cases with SAP and Azure cooperation, but of course some of them more available and engaging for the markets and have to be in front of the others. So such cases are one with Origo company and one with the client from pharmaceutical market in Ukraine and Europe and Eastern Europe. It's Darnica. So let's start our journey with our client from one of the northern islands of Atlantic Ocean, Origo. So Origo is official Microsoft Gold Partner and Microsoft Country Partner of the Year for Iceland. Origo is a system integrator and hardware distributor with 50 years experience in providing IT services in Iceland and Sweden. And as you heard me right, even such maturity customer also met some challenges in their journey with SAP to the cloud. And let's look at them more deeply. First of all, it's an older version of on-premises SAP ERP. This, of course, didn't satisfy the needs of growing business. It's, I mentioned before, it's software and of support drivers. The next one is to provide flexible, scalable solution to sustain the company's growth and one of the operational enhancement drivers. The next one is SAP infrastructure, rework local SAP infrastructure to ensure flexibility of resources management and better cybersecurity is one of the mission critical infrastructure needs we've already discussed today, and of course cut costs on hardware maintenance and upgrades. That's also one of the operational enhancement drivers. So what was the solution that could cover all of these challenges? Let's look, and we named this solution like implemented SAP S/4HANA in memory ERP solution in a hybrid. It's exactly right, in a hybrid Azure environment. Why it was named like a hybrid, we will know soon. So first of all, we start and we installed and configure SAP S/4HANA from the very ground. It's named like a greenfield implementation, and build hybrid SAP infrastructure with Azure Infrastructure as a Service bundle in the cloud and connecting to on-premises SAP workloads. Why it's so important? Because dev and test SAP S/4HANA environment were deployed on Azure, but production SAP S/4HANA environment is hosted on premises due to the strictest security requirements and complexity of existing integrations with on-premises application. Of course, we ensured full compatibility of Azure hosted instances with production environment by fine-tuning policies and connections. And after all of these manipulations and steps, business has got next value. First of all, is an effective solution to manage all internal business process from equipment procurement to accounting, with processing, etc. Hybrid cloud was a quicker and easier to deploy. Better security, scalability, and flexibility with a hybrid cloud that we discussed earlier today when Vadim told about different scenarios. And of course, faster time to market opportunity for new requirements, implementations, and new system versions. Of course, I need to mention that we have here in this case lower TCO and of course availability in 3 nines for IT services with minimized unplanned downtimes. As you can see and hear, it was one of the perfect examples of how SAP and Microsoft can cooperate to give their customers the great opportunities in their journey in achieving operational excellence. So let's jump from the Atlantic Ocean and move our attention to the Eastern Europe and Ukrainian market and deeply look at the next case with our client Darnica. Couple of words about customer. So pharmaceutical firm Darnica is a national producer of medical products and the top of the Ukrainian pharmaceutical industry. Over 80 years of successful presence in the Ukrainian market, more than 1,000 employees, and approximately $100 million in net profit. Let's take a look at challenges. So first of all, business continuity became dependent on the availability of ERP platform and requiring high availability and data recovery process. Secondly, the IT infrastructure support creates an increased need for availability of highly skilled technicians. It's not changed if you will migrate to Azure and decrease the need of availability of highly skilled technician. Of course not. In that case, the solution for the challenge was to delegate this responsibility to the Microsoft partner, to the Infopulse, that exactly have the appropriate number of highly skilled technicians. What about third one? Is the support of digital transformation. And you already saw that the solution could perfectly fit to the Azure thanks to the Vadim that shared with us the information about these opportunities earlier. The next one is agile infrastructure adoption requires significant investments in infrastructure and overestimation of expenses. And this is one of the main and of course valuable challenge. Nobody wants to have a significant investments and overestimation of expenses. The next one is performance of SAP platform and resource intensive operations. Yeah, and criticism of this operation. So for the Darnets, it was very important to have not only appropriate performance in that exact period of time, but in dynamic world and changeable business needs, be flexible and performance predictable. And of course, we need to talk about professional SAP basis support. And what I want to say here is, if you start your journey to the landscape covered by the fog, you will need in your board the robust partner with expertise. I think that you don't need to have additional clue to understand that Infopulse such type of partner. And of course, you will need to understand how much it will cost to you in the migration process and in the future experience with SAP on the cloud. So, customer has chosen the partner and gone to his journey. So, what we offered him, what we offered for the Darnets, we call that SAP on Azure Managed Services. What exactly? I mean, as an architecture design of SAP system landscape on Azure, the cost estimation of Azure consumption for SAP, SAP migration assessment, SAP deployment on Azure. What about what Vadim talked about earlier? SAP consulting and basis support. What I want to emphasize here is that Infopulse with the customer got through the proof of concept where we provided test migrations and deployment of all of the key components, where the customer with our help tested and decided what database could be perfect and efficient, Oracle or HANA, and they choose HANA. So also we've tested all Azure key components to be more sure that all will work when time will come to migrate the production environment. I say now about Azure landscape with Azure Compute, storage, networking, backup, Azure Site Recovery, and security and management. And of course, if you remember what I've said to you earlier, Infopulse have provided to the customer full scale of support services from the business cutover operation to hypercare approach afterwards. Let's go next, and as you can see here on the slide, in this case, we've used one of the reference architecture. As I mentioned before, when we spoke about Azure and Microsoft advantages for cover SAP infrastructure needs, and as you heard from Vadim Popov's presentation. So we've used one of the reference architecture and laid down for the future needs of high availability and disaster recovery basis. Also, we want to share with you our experience, not only in technological aspects, but organizational too, and lessons we've learned from all of the cases mentioned before. First of all, it's a build one general plan and share before start. Confirm network setup before project will clear with clear timelines. Make sure all project team is involved and stakeholders know about cutover plan. It's a very important thing. Have the official names of the component, some resource groups, networking, cloud, etc., to avoid rework. Hardware definition before start. Of course, I talk about high availability and disaster recovery. From cleansing stage before start, try to reduce the parallel project activities to the upgrade to the minimum as possible, and etc. So why we'll need the Infopulse SAP on Azure Managed Services? First of all, there is solid support offerings includes Microsoft Premier Support coverage, professional SAP basis packaged offer, 24/7 cloud support, flexible SLA metrics, and call of duty options. Secondly, Infopulse provides really competitive offer on the market. And at last, trust, of course, and compliance. Because, as I mentioned before, Azure is trusted cloud computer platform and fully certified for different SAP workloads in SAP nodes and SAP hardware directory. And of course, I have to say about another one benefit, significant cost savings. That could bring you up to 80% due to the provided flexibility of MS Azure reserved instances. For example, it's for 1 or 3 year terms on virtual machines, combined with the added value of the Azure hybrid benefit and from the last updates for the reserved instance, not only per year basis, but per month too. That I think is really huge opportunity to get cost effective in near perspective. So from my side, is all that I wanted to share with you today. And if you have some questions in the chat box or in the questions box, I or my colleagues Yuri or Vadim try to answer to them, or we'll try to answer in the email collaboration afterwards. If not, I want to thank you, the audience, for your time and attention, and wish you good luck and the best evening ever. Thanks.
Alexey, thank you very much. Let me check questions. So, so no, I do not see any questions for now. Let's have maybe 5 minutes break and proceed with colleagues from IntelliDocX and Docs 42. So colleagues, 5 minutes break. So, colleagues, we can proceed. And I give the floor for Fabio, representative from IntelliDocX company. Fabio, give you an access for sharing your presentation.
Yes.
Yes, we see it.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining. You should see my screen in a second.
Yes, we see it.
Okay, here it is. So good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining. And my name is Fabio Foroni, and I work as a CTO for IntelliDocX EMEA. I'm based in Rome, and today I'm going to talk to you about our connector, IntelliDocX ALACS. In a nutshell, what we offer is a product that will allow you to choose which platform store your SAP content. So from the different platforms that are available in the Microsoft offering, to content enable different SAP processes from the different SAP modules, to enhance your workflows by including also processes from SAP. So having the possibility to interact with SAP and SAP workflows, and also it offers the possibility to have 100% cloud solution. So if you move your SAP to Azure, you also will have your content server to Azure, and everything it's run in the cloud. So let's go briefly beyond the reasons why this is of interest for our customer, why this product is of interest. It all starts in the way that SAP manages documents. As you know, there are different ways to store documents inside SAP. Let's say that about 70% of SAP customers worldwide will just store documents inside the databases. The remaining 30% will choose a different option, like Archive Link, which allows you to use an external content management system, or DMS, KPro, generic object services. So there are a number of options. But whatever the option, I mean, inside SAP, documents are always organized by business object and by transaction. So you have to reach for, if you want to reach for a document, you have to reach the proper transaction inside SAP. You have to use the SAP user interface, and there are very few, if none, document search capability to search inside documents and things like that. But the user needs are different. They want to share the documents with other users, maybe with non-SAP users, because usually these documents are very important, very often as the most important document you find inside the enterprise. They want to arrange the document for different view, for different hierarchies, for example, folders, structures, arranged by line of business, by geography, by customer. So they want to have a proper document management capability. They need to link different content, search for content also inside the document content, have mobile access, and also have some easy way to upload and download attachment inside SAP, because sometimes this is a bit clumsy, as you know, especially if you use Citrix or other means, it can be a bit clumsy. If you look at the IT perspective, the main concern about the documents from the IT is about the storage that year by year grows because of the large number of documents maybe they manage. So if you think all the invoices, for example, it's a company that do 100,000 invoices per year, so they have to control this growth. We visit many customers that have millions of documents inside the SAP tables, and they really don't know what to do. And when they start planning the migration, for example, to SAP on Azure, this becomes a problem because they have to take decisions about this document, if they can be disposed, or if they need to be migrated. So what to do? So for sure they don't want to leave it on the existing archives. So this is a bit of a problem. Also, other problems regard the security, integrity. IT is very often today is asked to build applications that will perform specific tasks very quickly, because we have the world around us which is constantly changing, and we are forced to work from home, so we need different class of applications and things like that. So to do this, they want to maybe to leverage their investment they do in Azure, in Office 365, in SharePoint. And also sometimes, as I told you, they need to migrate this. Also, if they have used in the past an external ECM, they need to migrate this content to the new architecture. To answer to some of these or all of these problems, we provide a solution that allows SAP to interact, to interoperate with the Microsoft platform. In particular, allows you to store documents inside the SharePoint Online library or inside an Azure Blob Storage. So you have both choices in the same installation. You can choose different class of documents to go on SharePoint or on Azure Blob Storage. And this is based on the archive-link standard. So this is completely transparent to the SAP users and operation. This is something that happens behind the scenes, and it's a system task to configure these archives. But from the user point of view, nothing or very little can change. The connector, as you can see, runs inside Azure. So is managed by Azure Resource Manager. So the Resource Manager, we use an REM template that will create all the resources for you. So you don't need to put in place any specific infrastructure. You need to put in place virtual machines or things like that. So just take the web application, the connector, you install it, and you configure which SAP documents you want on which repository, and then you've done. If you need to do more, so if you need to interact with SAP also at the application level, so you need, for example, to run SAP transaction, to update data, or to participate to SAP workflows, you can use a data service hub, which is basically an application interface. So you can call this interface from Power Apps, from Power BI, so from different, also from a standard .NET application. You can develop your own standard .NET application and interact in this way with SAP. So basically, IntelliDocX puts itself as a bridge between the SAP world, Azure, and the Microsoft stack of applications. So it leverages, it gives you a number of possibilities you didn't have before for this platform to interoperate. I will provide some examples. As you can see here, we have example, what happens when you store documents inside the SharePoint library. So this is compared to the SAP user interface. In the SharePoint library, you can search inside document, you can have a preview of the document that you retrieve, you can filter, you can group, you can have different views for the same document. So you can view by vendor, by date, by geography, whatever you want to do. So with the same set of data, you can create multiple. And this is, this is not our merit. This is just standard SharePoint development application or configuration. Other things that you can do is, sorry, a bit slow in changing the, here it is. You can create a Power BI dashboard that read the data from the SharePoint library that contains the application metadata, because what we do with our connector, besides storing the documents, we also store metadata. So we take metadata from SAP, and this is something that we do, but it's not standard archive link stuff. This is IntelliDocX specific functionality to store also the metadata alongside with the document. So we say that we index the document with the metadata. By the way, this is not I mean, easy to say, but not so much in practical terms, because data can change inside SAP. So we also take care of.
Fabio, we can't hear you. Something wrong with your microphone.
Fabio, yes, I don't hear you as well. There's something with connection.
Sorry, I see. I got a message that was lost. Now it's back. Okay. Thank you. Sorry about that. So if we, I mean, I just said that if you missed it, I said that you can gather data from the SharePoint data, which is synchronized with SAP. But if you can also use the data hub service to gather data directly from SAP. So you can create a real-time connector that takes data from SAP and present you inside a Power BI dashboard. We can create power apps that also do interact with SAP. So can read the documents and metadata from SAP and present it inside a Power application, which is something that we are more and more we are asked by customer to do things like this, because we can provide very effective and simple things to do some operation that you otherwise will need an SAP VPN, or we will need Fiori or other things. But with a simple Power application, for example, we have built application that submit travel expenses for approval or request for vacation, things like that. There is a number of modules that can be content enabled by IntelliDocs. All modules that manage documents can be easily content enabled without any development, just configuration. And by the way, in this way, you are this open up a number of possibilities from partners and customers to develop Microsoft side business applications. So we kind of move processes from SAP to the Microsoft world, because they are very much easier to implement, and the productivity is better. The user interface is simpler. So using this, you can leverage this connector to build your own business application and workflows on the Microsoft side. By the way, I think there is this compelling event now that SAP is moving all its customer base to HANA, to S/4HANA by 2027. And by the way, this implies also more cost because HANA is a bit more expensive than traditional databases. Traditional databases are going to very soon before 2027 are actually going to not be supported anymore. So you will, I mean, in the process of migrating to S/4HANA, which sometimes happens at the same time with the migration to Azure, you will take decision on how much storage you want to use, and this is very high impact on the cost. So the good news for IntelliDocX users is that they can take the data, the documents which amount to 30 to 40% of the space, they can take it out of the HANA database. No, so they can put it on the blob storage, Azure Blob Storage on the SharePoint Online, and you reduce the size of your HANA requirements, and this can lead to very significant saving, because, for example, if you go to the HANA Cloud Capacity Unit Estimator, which allows you to understand what cost you're going to go based on your storage needs, you will find out that if you cut by 40% the storage, you will also cut the CPU needed, the memory needed. So you can go from, for example, for the larger configuration, from a cost of 7,000 euros per year to roughly 500,000 euros per year. So you can save 164,000 euros per year, which will allow you to put in place a document management and content management project with IntelliDocX connector and the SharePoint or Azure, and also save some money after you finished the project. By the way, if you use SharePoint or Azure to read SAP documents and data, you do not incur to the indirect digital access model, because is considered to be as indirect static read. So you don't need to provide more. If you can have as many users as you want, you need to provide more nominal licenses for your users, and you don't need to provide the indirect digital access license model. So as long as you don't interact with SAP, but you just go to, for example, a SharePoint library to read documents and data, you don't have to pay more money to SAP. By the way, if you in another case do interact with SAP, so you will run a query or run a transaction or create, for example, a new vendor in the master data, in that case you need a nominal license or indirect digital access license. But only for reading, you can have as many users as you want without any charge. Also, IntelliDocX doesn't charge for users, so this opens up a good number of possibilities to extend your documents usage to a large audience of users. We have quite a good experience in migrating document libraries to Office 365 or Azure. So we have tools and methods that will allow you, if you have a legacy open text or Documentum, FileNet, or also native SAP document repository, to migrate it in the new repository that you will put in place with on Azure, for example. So we do assessment, blueprint. We have tools that run automatically and perform automatically migration. We have done quite a few of very large document migration around the world. So for big names like Coca-Cola and other names. So we have migrated thousands of terabytes of data. You can use the IntelliDocX connector also to do data archiving, so to store the archiving object inside, for example, an Azure Blob Storage. This is very cost-effective way of archiving objects. Okay, I think I have told you everything that I wanted to tell you this afternoon. I thank you very much for your attention, and please, if you have questions, submit it to inside the chat, and I will be more than happy to answer you. And I give back the control to my colleagues for the next presentation. Thank you very much again. Have a nice afternoon.
Thanks very much. Thank you very much, Fabio. So, colleagues from IntelliDocX prepared a demo. Well, it's 15-minute demo. So we would like to show it just right now. And please wait for 1 minute. I will prepare it for you. So, colleagues, please. I think you can see the demo now, right now.
Good morning, everybody. I will show you a demo of with a little scenario just to show you how the system works. And first, I want to say is it's very easy to implement IntelliDocX solution because we are first using archive link. So in terms of configuring in SAP, we have to configure one or several, of course, content repository using the standard archive link transaction. So configuring a content repository is just configuring an archive link content repository, and so with the name of the Azure web application. And also we have on Azure a web application with a console admin to define to configure, to do all the administration and the configuration of the Azure web service. And it's very easy because we just have to give, for example, the mapping between the field SAP and the SharePoint column if we are using Office 365. So the first scenario is I will use the purchase order, but of course, as we are using archive link protocol, it could apply to any business object that where you can attach a document using the archive link protocol. So here I'm in a purchase order, and it could apply also to generated document, and also to print lists, and also to data archiving. So here I'm in a purchase order transaction, and using the standard menu, I can attach a document, a PDF document, to this purchase order, and I will get here a PDF document. Of course, it could be any kind of document that is supported by SAP. I will then just give a description, and the document is now attached to this purchase order. From an SAP, for an SAP user, it's really transparent. So the document can be seen from the attachment list, but this document is in fact stored here in Office 365. So now, if I go to Office 365, I can see that here I'm in a document library. I have a document library where are all the purchase orders are stored, and I can see that the document that just attached 1 minute ago is now in the document library, and I can see also that not only the document is in this document library, but you also have some metadata that come from SAP, and that can also be synchronized each time there is a change in SAP. Okay, and you can see, of course, the document itself. It is also, as Fabio told you, it's also possible to, if you want to put the document in different location depending on some metadata. For example, you could put the document in different document library depending on the vendor name or on the fiscal year or any kind of metadata. There is in the configuration a section to define the rule to how you store the document depending on some metadata. It is also possible to add some document from SharePoint, starting from SharePoint, and to add document to SAP. So here we will upload a purchase order, for example, another document to the same purchase order. So let's say that it's, for example, general condition. And to do this, we put here the document into some kind of drop zone document library, and we will enter the we will link to the purchase order. So here we are a very simple scenario, but so we have to enter the purchase order number. So to make the link, let's take the number of the purchase order. We can use the same. And there will be some background process job that will scan this purchase order, upload purchase order document library. And when there is a new document, it will send to SAP as an attachment. So let's, we are still in our Office 365, and you see the document has disappeared. And if I go back to SAP, I can see in the purchase order I was before that now there is a new document, attached document. And of course, this document can be displayed from SAP and without any difference with the other one. Of course, also on the document library on Office 365, you can see if I refresh the purchase order document library, I will see also the new document just upload from SharePoint. So it's possible to attach a document from SAP to SAP, from SAP and from SharePoint. But at the end, all the document will be stored in Office 365. We can store document in Office 365, but it's also possible to store document in business blob storage. Sorry. So to illustrate this, I'm here in an invoice. The blob storage is used. It's something provided with Azure, and that could be used is used in general to store some archiving archived document. And because you have some with blob storage, you have some features that are provided, like the unmutable blob storage. So, for example, the document will not be possible to change anything on the storage, and you can also apply some retention rules that is automatically that can be defined with the blob storage. So let's take an example with the invoice. So in the same way I did for the purchase order, I can attach a document to this invoice. So let's select an external document for the invoice. Let's take this document. Say blob storage as a description, and now the document is in the list of the invoice transaction. I can see it from the SAP. This document is stored, in fact, in the blob storage. So if I go to Azure, in our storage content storage service, there is several blob containers that you can define for the different content repository. And if I look at the last one, or in P4 invoices, I can see that the document need to refresh. So I go to the blob storage invoice. I can see my document here, and I can see that not only the document is stored, but I also have all the metadata in the blob storage as properties associated to the blob storage. And of course, you can see the document itself. Okay. The blob storage by default does not, Microsoft does not provide any kind of interface for the blob storage, but we developed some interface so the user can make some search on the blob storage. And it's not only for the searching the document, but also searching on the properties. So it's possible to search on some fiscal year, for example, or to make some search on the vendor name, or and with some assistance. So not only the administrator, but some user can make some search, or dedicated user can search on this blob storage. Let's see, maybe not Phoenix. You can see that you can see all the properties and view and download the document. Okay. So that's the different way on storage, possible storage that can be used with IntelliDocX, Office 365 and blob storage. When it's in Office 365, it's possible to take benefit of all the possibility of what is provided with Office 365. So it's possible to make some report on using Power BI, and to get this in your Office 365 and your page on your portal. So you have some kind of dashboard of the information coming from SAP or from SharePoint Online, depending on what you want to connect to. And it's also possible, as Fabio told you before, to build some mobile application very easily, and to get information from what has been managed by IntelliDocX in a mobile environment. Okay, and you can see that the two documents I just added before are now visible in my Power App application, and of course it could be installed on the mobile. Last thing, we also developed some chatbot based on the Microsoft Microsoft framework, where you can ask some question. To sign in. first to sign in. So you will be able to have some question to directly to SAP in Teams interface. Okay, first you have to sign in, of course, and ask us some question like you can see that some questions that you can ask to the chatbot, and what is could apply, of course, to, and you see that the system gives you the personal number of Stern, so it could apply to any kind of domain in SAP, but here we are in HR. So that's basically what I can show you. I was able to show you this morning, and if you have any question, you can use the chat to ask your question.
So many thanks. So we have plenty of time. And the last one presenter today, is, but not the least, is Lisa from Docs 42. Let me give you next step right now. So here it is, and we can proceed.
Yeah, Can you hear me already?
Yes, we hear you well, but not see. I see.
And now the screen, great. So I'm gonna switch to presenter mode. Yes, here I am.
Yes,
so,
okay.
Yeah, that's good. So hello from my side. My name is Lisa. I'm Senior Technical Evangelist at Docs 42, and I have the last but not the least, hopefully, session for today, which is going to focus on powerful document generation for SAP, Microsoft 365, Dynamics 365, and the Power Platform. And we've also prepared a live demo. So the presentation you've seen before was also about documents, but it was about document and management, where to archive and store your documents. Very important. We also speak about documents, but we speak about the document generation. And I'm going to introduce you to that. Once again, back to me. I'm Lisa. I'm Senior Technical Evangelist at Docs 42 for about 3.5 years now. And so I've been part in a lot of document automation projects. So I've seen customers that are using SAP, where they store their data, where they want to generate documents, and then later on they want to store the documents, for example, on SharePoint, or they want to integrate data from different sources. I've been part in many projects, and I'm happy to show you, to give you some insights for today. If you want to connect with me, here's my LinkedIn, and here's also my email address. I was supposed to have the presentation today with Anton from Infopulse. Unfortunately, he can't be here, but he would be your contact person afterwards from Infopulse if you have any questions on Docs 42. Good. So what have I prepared for today? So at first, I'm going to give you an overview and introduction into document automation. What is it actually, and why is it necessary? Then I'm going to introduce you to Docs 42, and then we will show you the live demo which we've prepared for you. Good. So when I speak about document generation and document automation, I speak of structured documents. But what are structured documents? Structured documents are any documents that have like some kind of like structural data in the background. The data that could be from SAP, that could come from SharePoint, from Dynamics, from maybe a SQL database, from Excel, or another ERP system. So we have data structured somewhere, and those documents that are, for example, invoices, order documents, we have presentations, we have reports, we have sales documents. Those need to be generated in big numbers across all companies, because at the end of every business result, there comes a document. So documents are needed in tons each day with data from our systems. It's a very important part for the business to generate documents. Unfortunately, in reality, it's often a pain to generate those documents. So I've prepared 3 scenarios for you on how document generation usually looks like within companies. The first approach, how documents are generated, is by copy-paste. A lot of companies are setting up their quotes, for example, or their contracts and so on by copy-pasting. That is flexible and individual. However, this is a very costly approach. It's cumbersome. People make mistakes. It's just a statistical necessity. It happens, and it's only 9 to 5. A lot of companies still copy-paste. However, it's not the right way. So there are other companies, they find the need that they actually need to automate their document generation. And then what they do is they develop some macros, they work with VBA codes, with some applications that is flexible and individual, and you get some kind of automation and you reduce your errors, which is really good. However, still macros and so on, they're only on the client and they only work 9 to 5. So for example, if you're a company that generates tons of invoices with data from SAP, for example, it won't really work with a macro. Also, it's usually a dead end, because what do you do when the person that has actually created that macro leaves the company? Who can actually take care of the macro? That's usually a big pain point. And then there's the third option. It's a very viable option, it seems. It's the standard reports from our ERP system. So it's the standard SAP documents you can generate. You have some server-side automation there, which is really nice. So server in the background, it works 24/7. So you can have a high performance. However, it's not flexible and individual. The documents are usually not nice. We call it corporate designed by IT. So for example, a quotation or an invoice or any other document is just not a nice looking document if it comes directly from SAP. And their companies often forget that the document is always a way of communicating with customers. So why not have nice looking documents? The next problem is, if you want to have the documents nice looking, so if you found the needs, your document should be nice. If you generate them from SAP, it will be a lot of programming effort in the background to have some nice looking documents in corporate design. But that's usually how it's done in business life. And so we see a lot of pain on document generation, but fortunately there is tools like Docs42 that actually helps you automate your document generation and to integrate your data. And what this slide here shows is kind of like the process we like realize that exists when it comes to document generation. So usually for documents, there are 3 parties involved. There's the IT, there's business, and there's marketing. The IT knows which data sources we're using, which systems do we have. Do we, for example, have SAP? Do we also use SharePoint? Do we use some Power Automate flows in the background? That's IT part. But business and marketing, they are the ones that are actually working on the documents. The business knows what content needs to be in my quote or what content needs to be in the contract. So that's a very important thing. And marketing, they have the corporate identity, they have the logos, they make sure that the documents look nice. In like the standard approaches, the business and the marketing, they can't really take part in the document generation process because if documents are generated from SAP, there's usually a lot of programming effort involved. We with Docs42, we follow a different approach. We say we want to include all three parties. Yes, there's the IT in the background that does like the data integration, but business and marketing can work on templates, on document templates for SAP themselves without programming, because the design is easy and intuitive within Microsoft Office, Word, Excel, and PowerPoint with Docs42. So that's our approach. And now a little bit about our company. So we are a tool, so we are a software company, and we focus exclusively on document generation. That's our focus point. Our USPs are the intuitive design of complex documents in Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, and the flexible system integration. So the title of the presentation already said, on the one hand, we can integrate SAP data, but we can also integrate other data like from Microsoft 365, from SharePoint, and so on. Document output is also very flexible. I'll talk about that later. We have around 400 customers across all industries and across the world that are using Docs42 for the document automation. And we have around 100 partners that do the implementation. One of those partners is Infopulse, and so we're happy to collaborate with them and that they do Docs42 projects for their customers. Down below, you can see some of our reference cases. They're across all industries, and I'm going to introduce you to a few of those reference cases now. So one customer success story is, for example, Energieallianz Austria. That's like a big Austrian energy and utilities company. And what they do is that they automatically generate invoices with Docs42. So they have data from SAP and also data coming from another source, and they, in a batch, automatically generate 3 million invoices at once using Docs42. Here we can see other companies, energy and utilities, they will generate contracts, offers, orders, invoices. We have a lot of legal documents, or also project management reports could be examples. Halion, for example, they use Docs42 in a self-service approach. So the customers log onto their website, they type in what kind of like their solar panel company, what kind of like solar panels they want to have, and then automatically based on the information the customer provides on the website, a document is generated, a quote is generated and sent automatically to the customer. That's another success story. Then in finance, in the financial sector, we, for example, have the Volksbank in Southern Tyrol. They are generating all their credit applications using Docs42. So that's an example there. Here on our website, you can read more details about the others, of course. In manufacturing, ABB, they are using Docs42 for their global sales and service platform, which is on the one hand side Dynamics CRM, but they're also using Docs42 from SAP. So they use it across their service landscape, and they generate service reports using Docs42. And the last example I brought today is healthcare, and Inselgruppe, that's a big hospital in Switzerland. They actually they generate more than 200,000 documents a year, and they have different scenarios. They generate supplier letters from SAP, they generate HR documents from SharePoint, and they generate patient reports and patient documentation from their patient information management system. So you see, they use Docs42 across the whole company, one platform for the whole system landscape. Good. And then there's one more, there's retail and food. For example, Rewe, they do all their order documents, their internal order documents, generating using Docs42. Good. And now let's have a look on how Docs42 actually looks like. Later, we see also the live demo, which we prepared, but here in a few slides to explain the beginnings. So the template design is in Microsoft Office, which is Word, Excel, PowerPoint. And we can see here's the template, and here's the generated document that we can not only insert textual data, but that we can also insert, for example, pictures. We can include dynamic graphs. We can include dynamic tables, and there could be calculations, conditions, and many, many more, like documents, PDFs, which you can integrate into one document template. You will see some more in the live demo. Of course, the data integration works without programming. It's really just like where you connect to your system. And here are the data sources which are available with Docs42. So from SAP, you can out of the box connect with all your SAP tables, also set tables. You can integrate BW queries and also BAPI RFC. And if you're using the cloud, a cloud tool of SAP, you can also integrate data via OData, and then you would use our XML JSON data source. You can also integrate data from SharePoint. So for example, you generate an invoice document from SAP, but on SharePoint you stored your terms and conditions document as a PDF and you want to integrate that, you can do that. That's no problem at all. So you can mix your data sources. That's how it works then. You can, once you integrate the data without programming in the data map designer within Microsoft Office, you can just simply drag and drop the fields into the documents, which helps you to really easily design your templates, your document templates. And everyone that has actually set up a Word document before, or a presentation or an Excel, can easily also work with Docs42. Then you can use Excel in the background to automate, like for example, dynamic graphs. They could be automated with data from SAP, and then they're inserted back into the document. That's very useful, for example, if you want to work on some reports. And then the output management is also a crucial part. So with Docs42, you can, on the one hand side, just generate your Office formats, how you're used to. You could generate PDF documents, PDF-A, PDF forms. Plus, you can generate the document, store it automatically to SharePoint, store it to Teams, and you can send it by email. You can send it out straight away. You could also generate a draft email and then still work on the email text yourself. And signing via DocuSign is also possible, or any other electronic signature tool. There are also other output formats like HTML or custom if you have like an own archiving system. Or for example, if you work with IntelliDocX, that's for sure also something that could be integrated. Good. And then Docs42 is available as an on-premise, but also as a full SaaS service, as a cloud service. So if you want to have your document generation in the cloud, that's no problem at all. That's possible with Docs42. And here we use Azure Active Directory impersonation in the background. No data is ever visible on the server, and Docs42 has the same rights as always the logged in user. That's so much information on there. And now it's time for the live demo, which we prepared for you. And I might need some help now from the team.
Just 1 second to switch demo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. For our demo, we start in SAP and we start by typing in our shortcut. We want to see or change our quotations. We have the quotation number 219, and here we see all the information. We want to display header details, and we want to look at some more information. For example, the item description, more about the item details. So that's all things we want to include in our document later on. All of that information. We have some more, the ordering party, and then display header details. Now we see the header details, we see the materials, some information on the date, the creation, and then we click on Docs42. So we've added a button here. We say which document to generate. So we want to have it for our quotation. So this is the 200019. And that triggers the Docs42 document generation in the background. And now we allow that it's returning a document, it's generating a document, and here we see a preview returned. And what also happened in the background, it also automatically stored our document on SharePoint. So we can see the sales order with our number a few seconds ago by me, because we used Azure Active Directory in the background, and we can see the document with our order number returned and with the information and some nice pictures as well included in the document. If we go to the sales orders, our SharePoint now, if you have a closer look, also our templates are stored on SharePoint for our SAP Docs42 templates. So they're stored here. I have my order template in English. I also have one in German. I could have one in Russian. And I'm going to open it here within Word to show you how the template looks like for the document. So here we can see a lot of blue data fields. And if I double click one of those data fields, the Docs42 Data Field Explorer opens on the right hand side, and I can see where my fields come from. So this time it's the field name 1 coming from the SAP Data Source Customer. The other one is ORT01 from customer, or the article number coming from the SAP Data Source Position. So we see we have SAP, but also SharePoint data sources. If we click here on employee, we see the field name. It's coming from SharePoint, so we can combine different data sources. I'm going to generate the document locally now, so that we can see also the effect it has here locally. So I just clicked on, I decided which document, which quote number I want to return, and which further information I want to key in, like for example the sales employee, should be Alfred, and I'm generating the document locally, and then we're going to have a look on how the document looks like locally. So very similar to the one we saw before, and we're going to view it side by side now. We can see right hand side the template, and on the left hand side the document. So the data was returned. We have the order ID, for example. Here we have a dynamic table. We can see 4 lines in the generated document, but only 1 line in the template. And in automate range, we can see that here we have a repetition for our data source position. So everything that's from position and within our repetition will be repeated. Hence we have a dynamic table which expands automatically, and this time it has 4 rows. That's an example. Or here with team, we have a condition added with the gray question mark, and here we say only include the term Firma if the customer Anrede is Firma. And then you can see that you could have like logic operators. You could set all kinds of conditions here. What else to show you? Like for example a net price. Here we specified a certain number format. The culture is English, and this format should be shown. For the VAT we didn't, and here again for the total we specified a number format. That could be a Russian format as well. Date, time, we've also included that here. And also within the type we can insert some more things like pictures, for example. Here we have the opportunity, we say we want to insert an image. We can also say we would like to insert a Word document, HTML, hyperlinks, a lot of different possibilities we're having. Like here, this small ad was actually a Word document stored on SharePoint, which we integrated. So a lot of possibilities on the design. Now if we have a look at the data map, within the data map we are connecting our data sources. And we can see a number of our data sources up here, starting from SQL to Excel, Web Service, SharePoint, XML, JSON, Word, our Dynamics data sources, and SAP data. And now let's have a look at our SAP connection. The Let's open the order data source. And the first thing you always do is that you enter your connection. We've worked with a connection file here. Basically, that's your system information. And then you decide what you read. We read the VBAC table with these column names. We want to extract that from SAP. I'm going to remove my filter, which we've set here, and I'm going to click on test. And I immediately get all my VBAC data returned, which is over 11,000 records with data from a SAP system that I have available for my system. So everything without programming. It's really just typing in which information you want. If I type in a filter again, we have what we select with the order ID. We have one order pre-selected with information just for one certain quote. We could also insert BAPI RFCs and BW queries, another possibility. If you have a look at one of the SharePoint data sources, here we can authenticate with Azure Active Directory. We're using that in the background. If we click on Connect here, we can choose our SharePoint list we want to integrate, for example, the ads, and then I can test it and I can see which data is returned to me, which I have available from SharePoint. Good. These are just some examples of our data sources. Saving the changes, yes. And then what I can also do is that, for example, I can make a change and then I can generate the document again, and the change will be effective, and I'm going to choose another quote now so that we can see a difference. And it's really everything without programming. Changes are effected immediately. No more programming for your SAP documents anymore. And the best thing, they can be designed by business users. You don't need SAP programmers anymore to design your documents. Here we can see now it's in bold, and here we can see different data that's inserted into our Word document. So now I'm going to show you a different template. This time it's about flight connections, and we're also integrating data from SAP. So here we have some SAP data sources. We have some flight destination. Here we have a condition. This text should only be shown if the flight date information is empty in our SAP data source. And if I generate the document and I say I want to fly from San Francisco to New York, let's leave it with New York, then the document is returned to me with all the flight information we're having. And if we just generate a different one, if we just choose a different connection, just to show you the difference, like from New York, we're gonna go somewhere else, Jakarta. Now we will see where there is no connection found, so the condition was met. But what's interesting here is the data sources. Here we're not connecting to tables, but we're connecting to BAPI RFCs. And to show you how that works, we here have chosen BAPI RFC. That's our get list. We've added some, we want to return a table. We've added the fields down there, and here we can see we have 30 records that are available for our BAPI RFC for this one. And we can also connect to BW queries from SAP, so we can see all of that information there and returned. If we click on test, we get that info returned. Yes, 11 records. So that's how you connect to your on-premise SAP. Your other SAP, your cloud SAP system, you would connect with our data source. Something more to show you is that within SharePoint, we can also generate documents. So if we have SAP information stored on SharePoint and we want to mix it with data from SharePoint, we do not necessarily need to generate the document from SAP. We can also do that directly from SharePoint. And I just click the button and I said, generate, return the PDF document with my SAP data plus my SharePoint data from SharePoint. So in this case, SharePoint is my UI. It could be your SAP, it doesn't matter. So here we have the document returned again, the one that we already know, with information from SAP and information from SharePoint. And then we have some other possibilities, like I could also generate and send the document directly via email. So now in the background, Docs42 is sending an email with the data, with the document with SAP data returned. Here we have the sales order, and here the document is included as well. So we're having that too. There are some other possibilities, like if I select something more, I can also generate a draft email. So instead of sending it out straight away, it's going to be returned to me, and I can still adjust the text if I wanted to. By the way, your text could also be a Docs42 Word template instead of just a small text here. So you can design really nice email templates as well. I'm saying you're the best customer. And here, as you can see, the same document attached. And then what else to show is I can also save the document straight away to my SharePoint. We've seen that before directly from SAP that it worked, but also here. And again, with Azure Active Directory, we have our document stored on our SharePoint here. And this is not just possible with one list entry, but we could also select multiple, in our case two, and we want to save it back to our SharePoint. And once again, it's generating the document. In this case, it's generating documents, so you can batch generate documents as well. That's not a problem at all. And the documents are going to be returned here, and we can see we have two documents here. And this one is a new one. We haven't seen that yet, with that information, Selena Bentley, and just one product added. Then I want to show you something more for the ones that are using D365 CE. We can also generate documents from there. In our case, we're generating solar panels, a quote for that, and I just worked on the discount. I adjusted the discount, and here we have the possibility also in Dynamics to click on generating documents. And I want to generate the PDF quote of my details, which I have in Dynamics. I have the document returned, and I can see here I have data from Dynamics. This is actually data from SharePoint, some more Dynamics data with pictures, the 5% discount, some more information and nice pictures that were inserted in our quote just with the click of a button. The 5% discount is important here because once we changed the discount, a Power Automate flow was triggered, and it automatically generated the document and saved it for us to SharePoint. So we have a Power Automate flow in the background that has regenerated the document, and it saved it for us on our SharePoint. So that's so many possibilities with Docs42. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you. So as you see, you have some slides.
Yes. Then I just quickly take back.
Just summarize. Yes.
Yeah. Just quickly going back to my screen. So if you have questions, please feel free to ask them now. This is just an overview of the advantages of Docs42. I think the main parts are like really the template design in Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. It just frees up the resources for your really technical stuff that you don't need to program documents anymore, that you can empower business users, that they can do it. You can integrate Office, you can integrate Microsoft and SAP seamlessly. You're really flexible with your system usage, and you save a lot of time and have high quality documents. And then just, if you have questions, please feel free to ask me and ask them now. Otherwise, if you want to get in touch with me, feel free to add me on LinkedIn or send me a message. Or if you want to be in touch with someone from Infopulse, feel free to reach out to Anton. And thank you very much that I was able to be here today and to introduce you to Docs42, and would be happy to hear some questions from your side. Thank you.
Lisa, many thanks for your presentation. So colleagues, I think that we finished. I believe it's 17 minutes later, but I think it's okay. Many thanks for your visit in this event. I hope it was useful for you. And of course, a lot of questions can be that we can discuss together in more details, maybe face to face or by phone, etc. So keep in touch. Thank you very much, and bye bye.